Even during my time, which was a long time ago, it was inevitable that there was going to be a professional era. We all had jobs, we all lived a life, but the game, the international recognition and the game gave you a lifestyle and indeed recognition that helped you in your everyday life. So there was always a benefit, whether it was, if it wasn't financial.
The difference between professionalism now and 98 is just unbelievable. You know, I used to turn up to training at 8 o'clock. I'd do about 10 minutes in the gym, sneak out. We'd have rugby training. We'd have a fry-up breakfast after rugby training. And I'd be home by about 12 o'clock every day. Compared to what it is now, you know, I'm watching what I eat. I've got to make sure I'm drinking 5 litres of water a day. Do your weights. You'd have analysis in the morning. And then you'd have a rugby session in the morning. You'd have your lunch, which would again be provided, all healthy, nutritional food, supplements, protein shakes, and then you'd have your afternoons. You'd have your afternoon rugby session again, which would be a little bit more contact, a little bit more difficult. To add on to that, you know, when you go to train with the likes of Wales and so on, you get a heart monitor put on to see how you've slept, and then when you actually do your training, then you're fitted with a GPS system, which would mean that you're training flat out all the time. There's no hiding place.
In my generation, it went from arriving on a Friday to play for Wales on a Saturday. The captain would say, right, we'll split into forwards and backs. Backs go over there and have a couple of run-outs. Forwards come here. Let's work out the line-out signals. Spend half an hour doing a few skills and what have you. And then come together. Have a little run out.
We were better than you because we met on a Wednesday. So
yeah.
we had 2 days extra with
yeah,
you.
Yeah,
so.
but that was graduation. That's the point I was
going
to say.
We're 2 weeks now, so
2 weeks
a little bit better again.
But nowadays, I suppose, with Shane as well, that our support system was 1 parents, 2 school teacher, and maybe 3 our local clubs.
Yeah, and that's of course where the huge difference is now. But it's still a fact that young players, young aspiring athletes, sports people do require support, whether it is financially or whether it is from their mentors.
The other thing is coverage. You know, we used to play maybe 4 internationals a year, maybe the odd World Cup. Whereas now, you know, if you want to look or see any player in the world, you look on the internet and you see his big hits or, you know, his best tries, or maybe out on Saturday night somewhere, someone's got him on the phone. But, you know, all that happens because of
the coverage and
phones, you know, Twitter. So even that's gone absolutely massive, hasn't it?
What I noticed was after the England won the 2003 World Cup, I don't know, for some reason, especially back home, it seemed to took another step again, and you know, Johnny Wilkinson was just, you know, through the roof, wasn't he?
It comes back to something we talked about earlier. Kids love heroes. I was inevitably wanting to be John Charles, or I'd want to be Duncan Edwards. Lynn Davies, of course, won the Olympic gold medal in the long jump in Tokyo. And he, being a young athlete, he was a great inspiration to us all. I went to watch Wales play for the first time as a young boy, as a young teenager, and I saw Dewi Bebb score a try in the corner. Dewi became sort of, again, an inspiration. You thought, oh, I want to be part of that.
I loved McEnroe. Yeah. I loved watched 1970s Brazilian football, so Pelé and Jairzinho. But even now, you know, I still, as a sportsman, I still look at television and I look at someone like Roger Federer and think, or Lionel Messi, and think, oh, you know, they're fantastic. Yeah.
Gareth was one of my heroes. Phil Bennett, I used to go down the park and try Phil Bennett's sidestep for hours and hours on my own. You know, I used to love it. I used to really enjoy watching Gerald Davies, a massive hero of mine. And I had the chance, and obviously I've met with Gerald over the years, and that to me is one of the maddest things, most surreal things really, that, you know, I've met probably my biggest hero.
I find it weird now that people come up to you in the street and say, whereas, you know, you get, you know, the pleasure of meeting someone, I'm lucky to meet some of the greatest sportsmen ever, and then people come to me and say, oh, you know, it must seem to you too, and go, oh, you're my hero. I find it really weird.
It is.
Well, it's hard to describe the feeling, isn't it, really? So we've forgotten, of course, what it actually meant to have seen you know, and I've got young grandsons now, and when I take them in and they'll see Shane or maybe see Lee Halfpenny or what have you, you can see them just looking at, and the admiration and the look on them is worth.
The best thing though, it's funny because when I remember going to my daughter's school to present the prize, and I went up on the stage and the teacher asked my daughter, who was 4 at the time, and the whole class, and said, right, does anyone who know who this gentleman is? And the little boy in the back put his hand up and said, it's Grace's dad.
It's wonderful.
So that's it. So that's what life's all about.
That's right.
There we are.
Right.